3 centimeters are worth 3 million, and that length happens to be the distance from the device to the eardrum. But the man started by pressing 14 millimeters, convinced he had this round in the bag. But the moment his opponent revealed his card, he was instantly defeated. Tonegawa immediately hit the switch and the steel needle at his ear began driving inward. The deafening roar made Kaiji feel worse than death. Saying this, the chairman told Tonegawa to ease up, otherwise Kaiji might give up the match entirely. The next second, Kaiji bet another 10 millimeters. This delighted the chairman. Before Kaiji could change his mind, he ordered his men to record the number on the board. Now, as long as Kaiji loses this round, then even if he only bets 1 millimeter each round afterward, the needle will still end up piercing his eardrum. His companions in the distance all thought he'd lost his mind, but the man beside them noticed the deeper strategy, because if he wanted to earn big in this gamble, he had to place a heavy bet on the slave card with its 5x payout. Otherwise, if it dragged on to the 5th round, he wouldn't even have enough left to wager. Looks like Kaiji is ready to risk everything. As the game resumed, both placed their cards face down on the table. When Kaiji saw that both cards were citizens, he smiled. It was all exactly as he anticipated. He knew that the higher the stakes, the less willing Tonegawa would be to take risks. In the previous round, he intentionally played the slave card second, to plant a seed of fear and doubt in Tonegawa's mind, make him think a slave might appear in the same slot 2 rounds in a row. Even though a normal person would never play it 3 times in a row, Tonegawa would still act with a better safe than sorry mindset. In the second round, he plays a citizen to make sure he won't lose, but Kaiji's carefully crafted perfect plan without him realizing it. That's nothing more than a clown's move. When he flipped his card with full confidence, Tonegawa grinned. He mocked him, saying he was still wet behind the ears, trying to bluff in front of me, trying to toy with an old veteran. You're nowhere near qualified. Tonegawa Yamini Koti Otus. No one expected Tonegawa to actually play the Emperor. Kaiji stared at the scene in disbelief as his companions gasped in shock. Tonegawa pressed the switch with a pleasant smile, and the steel needle in Kaiji's ear drilled in even deeper. Kaiji clutched his head in agony, unwilling tears spilling from the corners of his eyes. Only after it ended did Tonegawa reveal the truth. There is no such thing as a guaranteed win in this game. There's only one small trick to raise your odds up whenever he plays a key card. His joints send him subtle signals. Hearing this, Kaiji was stunned. He had never made any strange movements. So how did this old man read him?
It's Hama Kama, then. Oyorokumi Sostei. No Kuri. Oziaye. Don't look me to look at him. All his previous arrogance vanished instantly. Replaced by sheer fear of Tonegawa.
When the bodyguard asked him what he'd bet in the next round, Kaiji trembled as he said 1 millimeter, but the very next second Tonegawa mocked him. And now this, what a coward, truly pathetic. Kaiji could only swallow his anger in silence. As the next game began, this time it was Kaiji's turn to hold the Emperor deck. After suffering 4 straight losses, he no longer dared to play recklessly. In response, Tonegawa kindly shared a secret with him. He said he could read Kaiji's cards because whenever Kaiji played a key card, Kaiji's body would hunch slightly lower than usual, and after revealing the card, his gaze would wander other parts of his body too, where constantly leaking signals. So even if Kaiji said nothing, his body spoke the truth. Hearing this, Kaiji was stunned. Had he really been read that easily? But if that were true, why didn't Tonegawa crush him on the very first card? Obviously, this was nothing more than Tonegawa's fear-mongering. Unwilling to believe it, Kaiji decided to gamble big. He led with the Emperor, and Tonegawa played his card without a moment's hesitation.
Tonegawa thought it's over for him now. Even with the Emperor, Kaiji couldn't win.
Fear wrapped around Kaiji like an invisible shackle, tightening with every second. He grew paranoid, no longer daring to play the Emperor in his hand, resulting in 3 straight draws. His chances plummeted to a mere 50%. Forced into a corner, he made a desperate play, only to be read by Tonegawa again. That left only the Emperor and the slave, which meant Kaiji didn't even need to draw. Tonegawa would win the 8th round with ease. Saying Tonegawa reached for the remote, Kaiji instinctively tried to rip the device off, but was met with even worse news. The mechanism had already fused with his ear. Without specialized tools, it couldn't be removed. If he forced it, the drill would pierce straight through his eardrum. At the press of a button, the drill advanced again toward his ear, and Kaiji let out a scream of agony. Only 4 millimeters now remained before the drill reached his eardrum. At this moment, Kaiji is utterly consumed by despair in his eyes. The old man across from him is no longer human, but a demon who can see straight through him.
You can't even call out effort.
From everything we've seen so far, this is a high-tension psychological duel. Tonegawa's claim of mind reading is essentially psychological intimidation, turning Kaiji from a schemer into someone being dissected. Kaiji once appeared bold with his all-in gambles, but collapses completely after Tonegawa's casual remark, "You're not qualified." Against overwhelming experience and psychological pressure, youthful courage and cleverness stand no chance. Tonegawa's terror doesn't lie in perfectly guessing the cards, but in creating the illusion of absolute dominance. "I see through you completely." The moment Kaiji wonders if his own body is betraying him, he's already lost. Tonegawa deliberately fabricates tales and flaws, all to plant the seeds of self-doubt. Kaiji then becomes too afraid to play the Emperor card, leading to repeated draws, a clear sign of fear devouring his reason. Tonegawa doesn't need to win every round. He only needs Kaiji to believe he will lose. When Kaiji realizes that even dismantling the machine leads to self-destruction, the duel shifts from winning the game to simply preserving dignity. What Tonegawa savors is watching his opponent fall from arrogance to collapse, until he completely submits. This isn't a gambling match, it's a lesson in domination. Tonegawa demonstrates how to break someone's mental defenses. First, let them believe they're in control, then shatter their confidence with precise strikes, and finally finish them off with the myth of mind reading. Become a demon your opponent can't read or comprehend. Kaiji didn't lose to luck or strategy. He lost because he hadn't yet mastered the true art of the game. Because what they were wagering was never the cards, but the fear inside each other's heart.